Hello and welcome to Safe Schools. I'm Curtis Graves with the Mobile Police Department.
I'm Andy Howard with Mobile County Public School System.
Andy, we have a great show today. We're going to be talking to Captain Randy Jackson, William Jackson, but he prefers to be called Randy Jackson.
No problem.
Randy is a longtime member of the Mobile Police Department, and he's going to share with us a little bit about himself and a little bit about the precinct that he commands.
Well, I look forward to it. I think it's a good idea and a good opportunity to find talking and working with the police and interacting with them, and at times other than the worst time ever. So I think this will be a good show, and I look forward to it.
We'll be right back.
In Mobile County Public Schools, we are redefining ready. We are graduating college ready, career ready, and life ready. We are more than just a test score. We are earning college credit while in high school. We are working internships to get real-world experience. We are welders. We are certified nursing assistants. We are redefining ready.
It started for me here at Mary G. Montgomery. Coach Garubi, he's taught me a lot of life lessons on how to, carry myself as a person and strive to be the best that you can possibly be. Well, I'm a professional jockey. I've ridden multiple races, probably 1,800 races. I've won 306 races. Being here at Mary G. Montgomery definitely helped me become the person I am today in my career.
It's a fact. Bullying happens. Bullying can lead to serious physical and emotional pain. But there are some things you can do to prevent or stop it. Stand up for the person who's being bullied. Let the bully know that it's not cool to pick on others. Take action by reporting the bully to a teacher or principal. In the end, when you help someone who's being bullied, you are also helping yourself.
We're back, and we are with Captain Randy Jackson with the Mobile Police Department. Thank you, Randy, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Randy, I want to talk to you a little bit about, before we get into about your precinct, I want to talk about you. And just tell me a little bit about who is Randy Jackson. Give me a little snapshot about yourself.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a father of 3 daughters, 2 of which that are teenagers. One is on the verge of it, so I have my hands full with that.
Yeah, policing right there, huh?
Yeah, at home. And that may be harder than being at work.
Yeah.
But I've been here with the department for 22 years. I've worked in just about every capacity there is here with the department, and I still love what I do. And as long as I love what I do, I don't plan on leaving.
Well, along those lines, how long have you been in law enforcement, and how did you get there?
I've been in law enforcement for 22 years, but I was raised in a law enforcement family.
Okay.
I'm second generation MPD. My father retired here. He started in Pritchard, did 11 years there, came to Mobile in '77, and then he retired from here in '77. And I came on in he retired from here in '97, and
Right.
I came on in '95. So I followed his footsteps into law enforcement.
And Randy, you came on to the Mobile Police Department as a cadet, right?
I did. I started out as a cadet. Whatever I could do to get my foot in the door, I've known since I was a little boy that this is what I was going to do. My mother says we had a police escort to the hospital for me to be born, so
Wow.
they knew at that point. But yeah, since I was a little boy, I knew where I was going.
Well, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I think that's a great asset for you to have some idea of what you want to do from a child when you grow up. And I guess I'm curious, and I didn't know what Kurt was thinking, but I'm just curious as a citizen, how does it feel to be a policeman? I mean, what since you found that career and since you pursued that career, how does it feel to be a policeman in terms of, those moments or occasions in your life that said, this was a choice that you are happy that you made?
Well, it's rewarding, and Curtis knows as well, as long as he did in law enforcement as well. And it's rewarding when you can help people. Like you said in the beginning, sometimes they only see us when it's at their worst. But if we can make their worst a little better, or we can get them, some help or whatever they need, it's about the help that we give.
Yeah, the perception that people have nowadays with law enforcement, you and I both know that it's not accurate due to technology, due to everyone with a cell phone. Being that when you started, we didn't have the technology that we have today, how difficult is your job today than it was when you started?
Well, it's drastically changed, but I will say it's different, but it also can be used as a good thing. The technology today, you know, all of us know in every profession there's going to be someone that doesn't belong in that profession, and that's not anything different than law enforcement. And we try to weed those out quicker than anyone. But the technology, the body cameras, the cell phones that are out there, they make sure that honesty prevails, because once there's a video of it, there's no going back from it.
Right.
Yeah, I think when people decide about a pathway in terms of what they're going to do with their lives, choosing the pathway of becoming a law enforcement officer, it's not just a job, it's a career, and you got to make some choices about that. That's kind of where you're going, you know?
No, even when I became a cadet to begin with, my father told me, you have friends now that you're never going to hear from again. And you don't really realize that until a few years pass and you look around and you really have a very limited number of friends, because everybody's not going to walk the same line that you're going to walk.
It's a choice of life that carries with you, not just in your career path, but in your personal life is what I'm hearing. So.
Exactly. You have to, in your personal life, you have to be just as well as you are in your professional life.
Randy, talking about friends and how they drop off, that happens in life if you're growing. We know that.
Right.
But what school did you go to? What high school did you go to?
I grew up and I went to KJ Clark Elementary, and I went to Viger High School.
Okay. You're a Viger graduate. Wow.
I am.
Okay.
94. That's right.
So besides those choices, you know, from a cadet rising up, so now that you are in your position in the police department, talk a little bit with me about where that is. What area are you responsible for in the community?
Well, currently I'm the captain, the commander of the 4th Precinct, which is in the precinct that Baker High School sits in, where we are today. I have a large precinct. It's over 78 square miles.
Wow.
A lot of area to cover, a lot of businesses, a lot of residential, just a vast area.
So the dynamic space is significant, just the distance that you have to cover just to make sure that this community is safe.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges in this area? It's dense in traffic. I know that's one thing.
Well, there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of accidents. I would say that our biggest problem in this precinct is just people leaving their vehicles unlocked, and people walking by and just pulling their door handles. And if they're open, they go in and steal their spare change or whatever like that. We're plagued so much with unlocked vehicle burglaries, more than anything.
So that's a message to our audience then, that they, you know, if they would just take that extra time to just make themselves safer,
right,
and just be more attentive to their belongings and their surroundings, that makes your job a little easier.
Right, and that's citywide. That's really our one of our highest problems right now is vehicle burglaries, and it's the entire city of Mobile.
Wow.
You know, don't leave the valuables where they can see it, and don't leave your vehicle unlocked, and you can probably be a victim far less often than current.
And especially during the holidays, we know we have a problem today. We're going to see even more during the holidays.
Absolutely.
So if nothing else, we want to urge people who are watching, who are listening, to take heed to what you're saying right now, being the precinct commander of this area. But, you know, how important is education to you? Being that, I mean, this is the school systems network, and we try to promote education and safety. How do the two of those connect with you?
Well, education is important no matter what you do. It doesn't matter if we're relating it to law enforcement or to private business. If you're not educated, you can't speak intelligently about anything. I mean, when I left high school, I thought I never want to go to school again. But then when I got here to the police department and started realizing if I wanted to progress in this department, I was going to have to go back to school. So now I waited until I had a family and had to go to night school, which I wish I would have done it right out of high school, but I probably wasn't ready at that point. I had to realize that I needed it to carry me further, but your education's always going to carry you further, regardless of when you decide to go back to school or if you go right out of high school.
And those people that you end up dealing with in your current career, I mean, because of their choices about what they're going to do in their lives, the failure to make those choices have had adverse effects on what they're able to do and not able to do. So it is important.
It is very important.
Randy, how impactful is truancy to your job as it relates to what we just talked about, and that's vehicle break-ins, as it relates to the time of day and just the impact that it has overall with you having to precinct a city within a city, be the precinct commander?
Well, you know, if they're not in school and they're supposed to be, then that's just downtime that they're looking for something to do. And when you're just looking for something to do, the easy comes easiest, and which is the vehicle burglaries or you know, walking around the apartment complexes or the malls or the stores and just pulling on door handles, and it leads them to getting in trouble when if they would just be here getting their education. And not just in truancy, but we also see, like just a few weeks ago when we had a holiday on the Monday and the kids were out of school, our petty crime was up dramatically that Sunday night and Monday, but come Tuesday when the kids went back to school, it dropped right back off. So they had nothing to do, so they did small crime.
We're going to take a brief break for a moment, Randy, but we're going to be right back.
Okay.
I want to stress that attendance in school is important for all students in pre-kindergarten through 12th grade. Students need to be in school for the full school day, from the time the bell rings in the morning until dismissal, to take advantage of all of the learning activities that take place throughout the day. The slogan is, attend today, achieve tomorrow. Attendance, it starts with us in the Mobile County Public Schools.
I'm Mac McElroy and I'm a junior here at Baker High School. My future plans after I graduate high school are to go to Auburn University and get a mechanical engineering degree. And taking the AP courses could help me get credits to decrease the amount of time I had to be in college. Baker High School has prepared me for college, career, and life readiness by allowing me to participate in these clubs and classes that I'm taking now.
And we're back. Randy, I want to ask you a question. First of all, before I ask the serious question, I want to ask you about your career as it relates to the different places that you've worked within the Mobile Police Department.
Okay, well, I started off in patrol like everyone else. I spent some time as an investigator, a property crimes investigator. I moved over to the drug task force, and then I came back as a supervisor in investigations. But I've spent most of my career working narcotics and vice. From the 4 years I spent on the drug task force to going back as the commander, the lieutenant over narcotics and vice, and then ultimately the captain over narcotics and vice. I also spent some time in traffic, supervising the traffic homicide unit. So
with that question, the follow-up question I have is a really tough one, but I think it goes to the heart of what we're talking about. You've seen a lot, and in seeing a lot, you see things that you wish you didn't see, things that you wish you could forget.
Right.
Unfortunately, you can't forget it. So what are some of the things, or what is a particular thing that comes to mind to you that still resonates with you today?
Well, I would actually, there's probably two things. Obviously, I worked a lot of my career in the drug narcotics field, but my time in traffic, during that time in traffic, myself and my two traffic investigators that worked the vehicle homicides, we worked about 38 traffic fatalities in that year. And having to go and notify a family that someone's not coming home, or having to see them on the street the way they were. You know, there's several of those that you never forget. You know, you can still remember their names, their faces, their all of that. And the other thing is working drugs. You know, the numerous search warrants that I've been on and done where there's children in the house, you know, subjected to that activity, even left with it or have ingested it, and you just wonder if people really love their children the way you feel like you love your children. And so,
momentary decisions and how they affect the person's life or the lives of other people. You talked about those two areas, and you know, I know you have some takeaway that comes to mind when you think about your experiences in those two areas. Are there some takeaways that you think to yourself, if I could tell other people something, what might that be?
well, I will tell you, I can't give you an exact number, but in the vast majority of those 38 fatalities of that year, the vast majority were alcohol related.
Okay.
And no seat belts. And when you start drinking and driving and then you forget about the seat belt, you know, you may survive part of it, but you're not surviving all of it. And to destroy your family for like you said, that one bad decision, and all the people in your family that love you, and then we have to come there and tell them you're not coming home. It's very impactful.
So how do you cope with it, Randy? Because again, when you share that information with a family, I mean, it's not a television show, right?
Right.
It's not something that you turn off and say, oh man, that was a great show, or whatever. I mean, this is life. This is real stuff that you deal with every day that no one who has not walked in your shoes can quite understand. But how do you cope with it? How do you deal with it, the stress?
Well, sometimes it's tough. I still like to play basketball. That's a big stress reliever for me. And I love to fish. I don't seem to be able to get to go fishing as much these days as I would like to, but those things help me. And then also my girlfriend, I'm able to go home and talk to her about whatever happened. And just sometimes just being able to say it helps you compartmentalize it and deal with it better. You know, if you don't talk about it, if you're just holding it in, you're just thinking about it to yourself, it may get to you. But I'm not afraid to come out and talk about it and try to let it leave.
Hold it in and let it out. And people, I guess, don't realize that a person in law enforcement, that's not just your life by yourself, is it? It's your whole family, huh?
It's your whole family. You know, I grew up in it, and I saw the stress that it brought home from my father. And, you know, I came in this hoping to have a better attitude towards it than the way he dealt with his stress.
You had a perspective.
My father didn't talk about it at all. And so I could see it was harder for him. So I knew coming into this, I'm not going to hold it in. I'm going to talk about it and let it.
And I'm glad we're talking about this, Randy, because one of the big moves right now in society as a whole, whether it be from a law enforcement perspective or other than law enforcement, informing the community about trauma, about stress, and how it impacts decisions. That one moment of stress can create mounds of problems later if it goes unaddressed. Would you agree to that?
I agree. You know, we just went through some training. I'm not sure if you went to that bias training we went to, and he talked some about the stress that even us in law enforcement, we have that immediate stress that hits us, but we don't, even in law enforcement, train enough under that stress because you can't duplicate it. You can't duplicate that immediate stress that hits in that crisis situation. And we have to deal with it, but we have to deal with it in a blink of an eye.
That's right.
Yeah, that's important, isn't it? And one of the things I'm hearing you say, and I think that's true not just for a person in law enforcement, but for our whole community, you know, when you find yourself in those difficult situations, talking to somebody, it matters. It helps.
It does. It humanizes it. You know, you don't just keep it bottled up like you're a machine. It makes it personal.
Well, this is a very interesting conversation that we're going to continue after this commercial break, and we'll be back with Safe Schools.
Hello, my name is Kyla Brown, and I am redefining ready. I'm taking AP and dual enrollment courses that will help me earn college credits while in high school. I am studying dental science that will assist me in my career choice of becoming a dentist. I am a Student Government Association representative and actively involved in other activities around my school and community. And this is how I am redefining ready.
I think it's a good idea for students to enroll in this program because it offers a sort of new way to learn. It feels like in AP classes you're actually expected to learn and apply yourself and apply the knowledge as well. Helped me to learn how to work harder. It's helped me learn my limits as a student. It's sort of helped me to be more confident in myself as well as a student in my abilities.
I want to stress that attendance in school is important for all students in pre-kindergarten through 12th grade. Students need to be in school for the full school day, from the time the bell rings in the morning until dismissal, to take advantage of all of the learning activities that take place throughout the day. The slogan is, attend today, achieve tomorrow. Attendance, it starts with us in the Mobile County Public Schools.
And we're back. Randy, we were talking earlier a little bit about trauma. We were talking about how things in the community affect us in ways that we don't oftentimes really talk about, whether it be a law enforcement officer dealing with a really bad scene, or whether it be someone who lives in the community who's been affected by a really bad scene. How important is that conversation, of creating a conversation about the things that we see on both sides and how it affects us and how we communicate with each other?
Well, I believe it's very important because I don't believe that you can get over something or heal from something without communication, without having someone to talk to about it, someone that can, sympathize or empathize with what you need to recover from it. Even if you're not the direct victim, if something happens tragically to a family member, you're still affected, and you still need to be able to reach out to someone.
Going to those families that hopefully we get an opportunity to have some impact, influence with, to our students and to their parents. If there's something that you could advise or suggest that they consider and think about, well, what might you say, with those years of experience interacting with sometimes the worst case scenarios, what would you say to a student going out into the world to be mindful of, cautious about, or proactive with?
Don't be too proud to ask for help or to reach out for help, and don't let a bad decision compound. If you see something's happened to a friend or family, don't try to fix it yourself. Reach for help. Let the people that can help you so that you don't make the mistake that could ultimately affect the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
I think we've talked about several things. We've talked about trauma, we've talked about truancy, but overall I want you to share with the viewers, being the precinct commander of the 4th Precinct out here, what are your expectations for this precinct that you command? Because again, I mean, you're operating in a city within a city. Okay, the city of Mobile is vast within itself, but then that precinct that you have, it's large. That's a large responsibility.
Yeah, I joke about that all the time, that my precinct is the size of some of the smaller cities around us, or bigger than some of them. And our goal here is just like the chief pushes out, we're to treat everyone fairly, and to be there when they need us, and to give them that sense of security, to where they know we're out here doing this job. They know we're out here to make things better for them. and to take care of their needs. That's what we're here for. We're public servants, and we're here to be at their service when needed.
We've had a good conversation today, I think. And as our community deals with all of the challenges that come before them, where's your precinct physically located? And, you know, how is it configured in terms of if a citizen wanted to get in touch with your precinct, what would they do?
Well, my precinct is located right here by the airport.
Right by the airport.
On Airport Boulevard, just maybe, you know, a few hundred yards past Dawes Road. So we're there. The office hours where you're going to catch people in the precinct is the normal 8 to 5, but our offices are in and out of there all day
offices
long.
on the
They're
road.
24/7. They're 12-hour shifts. We're always here. To come into the precinct, the office hours are 8 to 5 to come into the precinct, or you can call the precinct during business hours.
Well, I'm saying that because I think, you know, as we say, when you say people need to let people know what's going on, this is important that they understand they're welcome to contact you guys when something's not okay.
Absolutely. We all, if we're not in that precinct, which 208-1301, you can call the precinct anytime. But we also have our non-emergency number of 208-7211. And we have a large amount of this precinct that are on the Nextdoor app. And if you're signed up for Nextdoor, you get our updates, you get the updates of your neighbors, and you can send direct messages to myself or my executive officer, lieutenant. You can send direct messages to us, and you know, we can help address your concerns.
I will say this as we start to close, that I'm happy that you decided to come on to share a little bit of yourself with us about the precinct that you command, as well as just you in general. And I want folks to know that I'm sure I can speak for you, that your doors are open, that they can come to you,
Right.
the precinct commander of the 4th Precinct, and share with you anything that they need to share with you, because you will listen. I think that the more people get to know the precinct commanders, I think the better off we are.
That's right.
And we are making strides in doing just that, but it starts at the level of the precinct commander. So thanks a lot. I appreciate what you do.
You're welcome. And they're always welcome to come and see us.
Well, thank you for sharing your time with us. I think our community and audience appreciates you coming on Safe Schools. I appreciate it, and I know Curtis as well appreciates it. And thank you for viewing Safe Schools.
Thank you.